Hello, and welcome to Life Diaries, a space where the pages of life open up, one story at a time. These are tales written by experience, spoken from the heart. Take a moment for yourself, and let's begin. Girls walked along the long park alley and talked. They discussed the latest events in their lives. Now that Sarah was married and had a child, she and Laura saw each other very rarely. Count Collie Buddy ran beside his owner, step for step, looking around. He was calm and reserved, generally, as always. Laura let Buddy off the leash. He looked back, waiting for verbal permission, and hurried away. Buddy was playing with other dogs in the fenced area. They had been here before, and Buddy knew everyone here. They quickly started a game, and now joyful barking reigned around the enclosure. "I feel sorry for you, Laura," Sarah said. And this phrase was so unexpected that Laura stared at her friend. But she calmly continued, "Look at your life. You have nothing. You're already 26 and you don't have a family, no children, not even a boyfriend. Only work and Buddy, nothing else. You're losing precious time. No one will marry you at 30. You'll just be left on the shelf with your Buddy, computer, and chocolates." I was like you too, until I understood what true female happiness is. It's our main purpose. How can you refuse that? Sarah asked, not understanding. Laura was still silent, smirking, anticipating where this conversation would lead. "Sarah, I love you, but you've gone off the rails, honestly." Laura said what she really thought. "I am not just Laura. I am first of all a person. I don't want to live the way I'm supposed to or the way someone else said. I love my Buddy. I love my job, my tiny studio apartment. I love my life, and I like living this way. I am happy and get joy from life. Do I need to have a baby because you had one? Or because someone said all women must have babies? It sounds awfully stupid. You're not the first one who gave birth, and now you're pushing everyone that—" Laura continued speaking calmly so as not to offend her friend. "You have some kind of herd instinct, honestly. If you gave birth, then everyone around you must give birth. But all people are different. All women have the right to live the way they want. And I want to live without children." "Well, you're a fool. You'll regret it later. A woman's happiness is in children and family, not in buddies, apartments, and chocolates," Sarah cut off rudely. Laura looked at her friend again with bewilderment. "But if your mother hadn't given birth to you, I wouldn't exist, and it wouldn't matter." "Okay, Sarah. Apparently we haven't seen each other for so long for a reason. I'm sorry that I no longer fit your ideal of a friend," said Laura, who was simply tired of listening every time about what a wonderful son Sarah had, what a wonderful husband she had, how happy she was to be a mother, and that Laura simply must have a baby. This must complex appeared in her somehow excessively sharply. Sarah used to be cheerful and lively, free in her opinions, but after being married for a year and a mother for 3 months, she seemed to have become a robot, where everyone around her owed her something. Laura continued, "Perhaps we shouldn't see each other anymore. I don't want to hear that I owe someone something, that my Buddy is stupid, my job is abnormal, as you put it. I think you'd better socialize with other moms whose lives are definitely going the way they're supposed to." Laura turned towards the enclosure. "Buddy, come!" Buddy instantly stopped playing and ran to his owner. She attached the leash and walked away into the distance. Sarah, stunned by such a statement, remained standing there. Laura walked with Buddy along the alley, and he followed step for step behind his owner. He looked at her with such love, as if there was nothing happier for this Buddy than simply being by his owner's side. Laura turned left down a street and walked along the sidewalk, going around the large park. She was tired of listening to her friend's reproaches. She was tired. They came out onto a semi-empty street. Laura took off Buddy's leash. Buddy ran freely beside her, Laura thought that Sarah wasn't entirely honest with herself. She had seen her tears 1,000,000 times, listened to her complaints, and such a life certainly didn't seem happy to her. Sarah's husband literally forced her to give birth, stating he would divorce her if he didn't become a father. She agreed with tears, and when she gave birth, her husband brought up the child every time something went wrong. Now he wouldn't let her work. She could only leave the house with a stroller. Sarah's entire life had turned into imprisonment, and Laura certainly didn't want such a life. She looked back and saw that Buddy wasn't beside her. She flinched and called Buddy, but he was nowhere to be found. Laura started to rush back, but then turned her head and saw David lying on the ground. Everyone just walked past. No one helped him. Only Buddy nudged him with his nose, barked and howled, trying to help David. Laura rushed to Buddy, fell to her knees, and checked David's pulse. She called an ambulance. Buddy circled around David. "Good boy! Good boy!" Laura said, stroking Buddy behind the ear. When the ambulance arrived, David was taken away, and Laura and Buddy remained standing there. She turned to Buddy and said, "You're a good boy, but you shouldn't have run off. You should have called, and I would have gone after you. Understood?" Buddy looked at her as if he understood, but henceforth, Laura no longer let him off the leash. They walked home along the long and again semi-empty street, where they had turned off the busy avenue where David had been lying. Laura barely thought about him. The ambulance staff took her phone number just in case, but she doubted they would call. She didn't even know this David at all. Laura approached the tall building and entered her apartment. After his paws were washed, Buddy lay down on his bed and almost immediately dozed off. Laura checked new orders in her online store and went to make the ordered chocolates and candies she sold. Her hobby had turned into a real profession, and she earned excellent money. Of course, from the outside, her work looked abnormal. Even when people found out that Laura earned 3 times more than them, they still turned up their noses and said it wasn't work at all. Turning on a series in the kitchen, Laura got to work. She went into the living room for molds, and she didn't like the look of Buddy. Buddy looked lethargic. His eyes were watery. Laura examined him but found no other symptoms of illness. She went back to the kitchen. One evening, when she finished and entered the living room again, she was already rushing headlong to the phone to call a taxi. Buddy was not well. Tear-stained, Laura sat in the back seat of the yellow taxi. Buddy lay on the seat, his head on her lap. He was drooling heavily. He had a fever. Buddy was breathing heavily and intermittently. Getting out of the car, she picked up the 20-kilogram Buddy, barely feeling his weight due to stress. Laura carried Buddy into the clinic, and the doctors immediately took over the new patient. "I'm very sorry," the doctor said after reporting the diagnosis. "But we don't have the facilities to perform such operations. We'll keep him on a drip until morning, and then it's up to you. Either put him down or transport him. But you'll need specialized transport, and it will be quite expensive. Around 100 just to get there, and I don't know exactly how much after that, but the operation will cost a pretty penny. This disease is not uncommon in this breed. There was nothing you could have done. Go home. You need to think until morning." Laura cried all evening until deep into the night, until she fell asleep from tears and burning, stinging eyes. She cried because she didn't have that kind of money saved up. She didn't have any acquaintances she could borrow such an amount from either. Laura, still not losing hope, went to the clinic early in the morning. She cried in the taxi too, holding a bag with her savings. She would move heaven and earth, but she would find the money for the operation. She just needed to transfer him. Just then, the taxi pulled up to the doors of the expensive 24-hour clinic. Laura got out and went straight to the reception, but the doctor met her with wide eyes. "Your Buddy has already been taken," the doctor said. He looked surprised. "And the funds have been deposited into the account, and your buddy should already be there. He was picked up about 2 hours ago. I don't quite understand. Who made the payment then? The doctor asked himself. I did, David said, standing up from the bench in the corridor. Laura looked at him and instantly recognized David, whom Laura's buddy had essentially saved. People had just walked past. Everyone thought someone else would surely help him, but in the end, only Buddy rushed to save David. David led the tear-stained Laura, her eyes red from crying, outside to talk. Don't worry, he's already there. They're preparing him for surgery. The doctors give almost 100% guarantee that everything will be fine because you reacted very early. Your buddy? Well, when I had a heart attack in the middle of the street, I might not have survived. No one helped me, only your buddy called you. I even remember him nudging me in the face with his cold nose, and everyone around didn't care. There's more humanity in Buddy than in people. They gave me your number. My guys found you. They immediately told me that your buddy was in trouble. I hurried to help. Time is of the essence here. A life for a life, as they say, David said, smiling. I will never forget this. Thank you. I gathered my last money, I was thinking. And then you. She couldn't speak because she started crying again. How can I thank you? It's not a small amount. I make amazing homemade chocolate. Would you like me to make it for you for the rest of my life to pay you back? What nonsense. For me, it's not such a large sum. Let's do this. When your buddy recovers and gets better, you'll go on a date with me, since you want to thank me. David smiled, and Laura couldn't help but smile back. Everything was wonderful now, but if Laura had been late in seeking help, Buddy wouldn't have survived. Even this her new acquaintance helped her find out. And when he gave her proof that her friend Sarah had also played a part in this, she was stunned. Laura's first stop was Sarah's, but she immediately started sobbing, hoping that tears would help her justify herself. Only Laura wasn't touched by these tears. I thought it was because of Buddy. But you're a woman. If your buddy had died, you would have wanted a child. We would have raised children together. We would have been friends like before. Sarah sobbed. You know, Sarah, someone capable of doing that to an animal is also capable of doing it to a person, Laura said. And in this life, everything comes back around. Wait for your turn. I believe in karma. Goodbye, Sarah. Live your happy family life and wait. Life will definitely settle the score with you. Laura went downstairs under the not-so-flattering remarks of her former friend directed at her. Their relationship was destroyed in an instant. Laura got into Mark's car. He smiled at her, and she smiled back involuntarily. Buddy in the back seat put his head on his owner's shoulder. She thought that fate did exist after all. As if she had been sent Mark so that he would later save Buddy, who might not have survived because of Sarah. Laura believed that Mark and Buddy were those sent by fate itself, and from now on, everything would be fine for them.